Kevin Painter, the professional dart player who pushed Phil Taylor to sudden death in the 2004 World Championship final, spent 16 months battling dartitis, unable to release a dart from his hand. In June 2024, one of darts' most accomplished players walked up to the oche at a Challenge Tour event and froze. What followed was what Painter himself called absolute misery, a descent into dartitis, the darts equivalent of the yips in golf. A condition that has ended careers, destroyed champions, and remains one of the most misunderstood phenomena in professional sports. From Nathan Aspinall's 2023 Premier League struggles to Eric Bristow's career-ending battles, dartitis continues to haunt the sport. This is how Kevin Painter fought his way back from it. Let's start with the beginning. Early June 2024, at a PDC Challenge Tour event, Kevin Painter, then 56 years old, stepped up to throw, and he couldn't. Here's how he described it to the BBC. "You're in shock. I stood there for ages. I just couldn't get my arm up to let go of the dart." Think about that for a second. This is a player with over £947,000 in career prize money. A man who represented England 7 times in British internationals. Someone who won major titles, reached World Championship semi-finals, and once came within one leg of being world champion. And suddenly, at a relatively meaningless Challenge Tour event, he physically could not throw a dart. In September 2024, Painter gave more detail in a PDPA video. "I've had the dreaded dartitis. It was an absolute nightmare. Just couldn't let the dart go. I played one game, best of 5, and it took 30 minutes. Was absolutely brutal." 30 minutes for a best of 5 match. Let that sink in. The symptoms weren't just about speed. Painter couldn't release the dart from his hand. He'd freeze at the oche for extended periods. He had difficulty aiming at the top of the board. Sometimes he had to aim for treble 19 instead of the usual 20 bed. The Telegraph later reported that Painter had actually struggled with the issue at different times for the past 17 years, potentially dating back to when he was about 40 years old around 2007 or 2008. But Painter's own words make it clear, whatever happened before was nothing compared to this. "It's strange," he said. "I played at the top of the game for 20 odd years and handled some proper pressure moments. Before we go deeper into the dartitis nightmare, you need to understand what this condition stole from Kevin Painter, because this wasn't just any player. Born July 12, 1967 in Billericay, Essex, Kevin Painter earned the nickname The Artist, and for good reason. In 1997, he won both the British Open and the British Match Play. In 2001, he shocked the darts world by defeating Phil Taylor in the first round of the World Grand Prix, Taylor's first televised first-round loss in 2 years. After switching to the PDC full-time in 2001, Painter reached the 2003 World Championship semi-final alongside John Part and other legends of the era. But it's what happened in 2004 that defines his legacy. The 2004 PDC World Championship final, Kevin Painter versus Phil Taylor. The match lasted approximately 3 hours and 45 minutes, one of the greatest matches in darts history. Painter led 4-1 in sets. He had Phil Taylor on the ropes, then Taylor mounted one of his legendary comebacks. The match went to 6-6 in sets, then 5-5 in legs, sudden death. One leg for everything. Taylor clinched it on double 5. Painter never got a shot at a double. Years later, Painter reflected, "It's a shame that I didn't get a shot at a double to win, because the way I was feeling, I probably would have hit and I probably would have been world champion." That match drew 820,000 viewers, a PDC record at the time, and it propelled Painter to a career-high world ranking of approximately number 5. His career wasn't just that one match though. In 2008, he reached another World Championship semi-final, beating defending champion Raymond van Barneveld along the way. He made the UK Open semi-final in 2009, and in 2011, at the Players' Championship Finals, he defeated Mark Webster 13-9 to claim his only PDC major title, returning him to the world's top 10. That earned him a Premier League wildcard in 2012. The numbers tell the story: £947,546 in career prize money across 1,960 matches with a 60.71% win rate and an 88.59 career average. After losing his PDC Tour card at the end of 2018 and failing to regain it at 2021 Q School, Painter retired from the professional circuit in February 2021. He moved to the World Seniors Darts Tour and immediately reminded everyone what he was capable of. At the 2022 World Seniors Championship quarterfinals, he thrashed Phil Taylor 3-0. That ended a 31-match losing streak against Taylor dating back to 2001. This is the player Dartitis attacked, a champion, a legend, someone who had nothing left to prove. So what exactly is Dartitis? Because if you don't play darts, the idea that a professional athlete can suddenly forget how to release an object from their hand sounds almost fictional. Dartitis is essentially the darts equivalent of the yips in golf. That sudden, inexplicable loss of ability to perform basic motor skills under pressure. It affects athletes across sports psychology, from baseball pitchers who can't throw to first base to golfers who freeze over 2-foot putts. The Oxford English Dictionary added dartitis in 2007. Their definition, a state of nervousness which prevents a player from releasing a dart at the right moment when throwing. But that clinical definition doesn't capture the horror of it. Eric Bristow, 5-time BDO world champion, arguably the greatest player of the 1980s, was struck in November 1986 at the Swedish Open. He said, "My game simply fell apart. I couldn't release the dart. I honestly believed my career was over." He never fully returned to Carcassigier's peak form. Barry Vampire was 21 years old at the 2017 Grand Slam of Darts when he struggled on stage against Gary Anderson, averaging just 68.8 and reduced to tears. The whole world watched him suffer. He eventually recovered and won 4 Challenge Tour titles in 2023, but the images of that match are burned into darts history. More recently, Nathan Aspinall, a 2-time major champion, struggled with dartitis during the 2023 Premier League, missing crucial doubles and appearing visibly frustrated with his release. Even Gian van Veen has battled similar issues, showing that dartitis continues to plague modern professionals. Mensur Suljovic overcame career-threatening dartitis in the 2000s by completely rebuilding his throwing technique into a ritualized routine. Mark Webster, the 2008 BDO world champion, experienced dartitis from 2014 and later admitted he never recovered the confidence to play. So what causes it? The medical community is divided. Some classify it as focal dystonia, a neurological movement disorder involving involuntary muscle contractions in the same family as musician's cramp and writer's cramp. Mayo Clinic researchers have proposed a 2-type model. Type 1 is neurological focal dystonia. Type 2 is psychological choking, and many cases involve elements of both. Dr. Linda Duffy, professor of psychology at Middlesex University, published researcher on sports performance anxiety, and former women's world #1 from 1982 to 1987, has her own perspective. She experienced dartitis herself. She told the BBC, "In the absence of any physical trauma, it's purely psychological," calling it a cognitive disorder linked to lack of confidence. Kevin Painter has his own theory, and it differs dramatically from the medical establishment. In February 2026, Kevin Painter gave his most extensive interview about dartitis on the Tungsten Tales podcast, published by Darts News, and he was emphatic about the cause. It's nothing to do with darts themselves, it's all about anxiety and not sleeping properly. If you can get a good night's sleep every night, you're emptying what they call the bucket of trash from that day and from previous days and months. I wasn't sleeping properly, which made me anxious, and in the end it becomes a nervous thing. According to Painter, the condition emerged from the accumulated psychological toll of declining performance. I think the stress and anxiety probably came after coming off the tour, not playing as well as I used to, but still thinking I could. That probably built up too much, and then suddenly, bang, it came on. His therapist told him something interesting. If Painter weren't a dart player, the same anxiety might have manifested itself in another way, panic attacks, for example. The therapist said it's just a symptom of anxiety and stress. Think about what that means. Dartitis isn't about darts. It's about what's happening in your life, in your head, in your sleep patterns. The dart is just where the anxiety decides to show up. This perspective aligns partially with Dr. Linda Duffy's view. She agrees it's psychological. But here's where things get controversial. Painter's choice of treatment, because Dr. Duffy is deeply skeptical of the approach Painter used. She stated, "I don't think it will work, ever, because throwing darts is a conscious skill. So having therapy on your unconscious movements I don't think is going to help it." She recommends cognitive behavioral therapy instead. But Painter didn't use CBT. He used something else entirely. Remember, this is June 2024. Painter has just experienced the worst match of his life. He's standing at the oche, unable to throw. His career, his identity, everything he's worked for, it's all collapsing in real time. And then Peter Manley walks up to him. Manley, president of the Professional Darts Players Association, was at the same Challenge Tour event. He witnessed Painter's struggles firsthand. Here's what Painter recalled. He came up to me afterwards and asked if I'd be interested in being a guinea pig, basically, at a trial with some hypnotherapy. He said this guy can clear Dartitis, so I thought, well, I've got nothing to lose. Manly connected him with Chris O'Connor, a clinical hypnotherapist who runs Eccleston Park Hypnotherapy, the official hypnotherapy partner of the PDPA. During the sessions, Painter would lie on a sofa and be guided into a trance. O'Connor described it as confidence work and motivation work, centered on visualizing areas of life to improve. 8 sessions, approximately 8 weeks, and it worked. In September 2024, Painter posted an emotional video to the PDPA's Facebook page thanking O'Connor. He put me at ease straight away, and 8 sessions later, it's all gone. All gone. After 16 months of hell, Kevin Painter could throw a dart again. The nightmare was over, except it wasn't. October 4th, 2024, the World Seniors match play at York Barbican, Kevin Painter versus David Cameron, first round. Approximately 2 weeks after declaring himself cured, Kevin Painter walked onto a televised stage and the Dartitis came back. He lost 3-8 to Cameron. A TikTok video of his Dartitis attack went viral. 22,200 likes, 71 comments. The whole world watched him struggle again. I was really disappointed, Painter told the BBC. I thought it had gone. Live Darts published an article. Kevin Painter vows to battle on despite Dartitis struggle. Can you imagine? You spend months in therapy. You do the work. You feel yourself getting better. You make an emotional public announcement that you're cured. And then, on television, in front of thousands of people, it comes back. Painter continued competing through the agony. In February 2025, he lost 2-3 to Richie Burnett at the World Seniors Championship, averaging just 79.92, well below his career average of 88.59. In June 2025, he lost 2-5 to Mervyn King at the World Seniors Champion of Champions. But this time, Painter didn't give up. He doubled down. After the October 2024 relapse, Kevin Painter made changes, real changes, not just therapy, lifestyle. He reduced his alcohol consumption. It's no secret everyone likes a drink when they play, but you have to put the effort into the treatment. He started taking morning walks. I like to go for a walk in the mornings to clear my head. He adjusted his technique. At a certain point, I changed my throw a little. More rhythm, less thinking, and that seemed to work. He continued his relationship with Eccleston Park Hypnotherapy. He continued the sessions, he continued doing the work, and slowly, painfully slowly, it started to come back. By early 2026, Painter entered PDCQ school in Milton Keynes, not to win a tour card. He was honest about that. I didn't go to Q school to get a tour card. Those days are gone for me. I went so I could get some practice and then be able to play on the Challenge Tour and get more match time. In February 2026, he gave his assessment. The Dartitis had cleared 90 to 95%. I still get a slight hesitation sometimes, but it's nothing compared to how it was. It's just nice to be able to throw again, but recovery isn't the same as being cured. Painter acknowledged the reality. It's basically a new challenge. I have to retrain myself in a different way of playing. That's what Dartitis steals. Not just your ability to throw, your confidence, your identity, your entire relationship with the sport you've played for decades. Even when you recover, you're not the same player. You're learning the game again from scratch. Kevin Painter's Dartitis case is unique for several reasons. First, his age at acute onset, 57 years old. Most Dartitis cases strike players in their competitive prime. Painter got it after his professional career had already ended. Second, his identification of the trigger, not competitive pressure, not the yips on stage, but post-career adjustment anxiety, the stress of not being who you used to be. Third, his willingness to be publicly candid throughout the experience. He posted videos, he gave interviews, he let people watch him struggle. In July 2025, he told Darts World magazine that it could have struck at a much worse time, reflecting that getting Dartitis after losing his tour card was the lesser evil compared to it happening during his peak years. And fourth, his openness created unexpected connections. I've spoken to so many people who have it or have had it, he said. I wouldn't have had those conversations if I didn't get Dartitis. That matters, because Dartitis has, historically, been shrouded in shame. Players hide it. They retire quietly. They disappear from the sport rather than admit what's happening to them. Eric Bristow never fully recovered. Mark Webster admitted he never got his confidence back. Barry Vampire was reduced to tears on television. Nathan Aspinall struggled publicly in the Premier League. Jan van Veen continues to battle similar demons. But Kevin Painter talked. He explained what was happening. He documented his treatment. He admitted when the relapse occurred. He showed vulnerability, and in doing so, he changed how the darts community discusses this condition. As of February 2026, Kevin Painter remains active on the World Seniors Darts Tour. He's returned to the Modus Super Series. He continues his hypnotherapy relationship with Eccleston Park Hypnotherapy. He maintains his adjusted lifestyle, morning walks, reduced alcohol, consistent sleep. He holds a signature darts range with Legend Darts. He does occasional exhibition work. His competitive results remain modest. Early exits in 2025 seniors events suggest the Dartitis and its aftermath continue to limit his performance ceiling. His 79.92 average against Burnett sits well below the player he used to be, but Painter frames his situation with characteristic pragmatism. "You don't think it's ever going to end, you hope it will," he said of the darkest period. Kevin Painter's career has been defined by near misses and resilience. The agonizing 2004 sudden death leg against Phil Taylor. The decade-long battle to stay relevant on the professional circuit. And now this, the final unexpected challenge. 16 months of absolute misery between June 2024 and late 2025. But here's what matters. Kevin Painter is still throwing darts, still competing, still fighting. Dartitis is not simply a throwing problem, it's a whole person condition rooted in anxiety, sleep, and accumulated stress, the darts equivalent of sports psychology challenges that affect athletes across all disciplines. Recovery is possible, but it demands patience, professional support, and the humility to rebuild from scratch. The artist lost his ability to throw, and then he learned how to throw again. That's the story.